departure from modern royal history. And they asked the question that reverberated through the palace. If the established rules can be adjusted to accommodate a personal relationship in this circumstance, where exactly will the boundaries be drawn in the future? If a stepson can represent the crown, what stops the monarchy from fragmenting into a loose collection of private interests? So that's where the situation...
Who is actually doing the work of the British monarchy right now? How did the working royal roster get this thin? And what happens when it gets thinner? And why does the question of who gets to officially represent the crown matter more right now than at almost any point in recent history? 3 questions. The answers are more revealing and more urgent than the polished public image of a monarchy carrying on as normal suggests. Question 1. Who is actually doing the work? Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers tell a story the official photographs don't. In 2023, the working royals who carried the bulk of public engagements were King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, Catherine Princess of Wales, Prince Edward and Sophie Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, and Princess Anne. Now look at what has happened to that list. King Charles is managing an ongoing cancer diagnosis while maintaining his schedule with extraordinary determination. Catherine spent the majority of 2024 away from public duties during her own cancer treatment and recovery. She has returned, but carefully and at a measured pace. Harry left. He lives in California. He has no working royal role. Andrew was removed from public duties following the Epstein scandal and has not returned. That leaves, on any given week, a working core of perhaps 5 or 6 people carrying an institutional workload that was previously distributed across considerably more. Princess Anne's numbers reflect this reality most starkly. 457 engagements in 2023, more than anyone else in the family. That is not the output of someone supplementing a comfortable schedule. That is someone running at maximum capacity because the gaps around her are real. The working royal roster is thin. Not critically, not catastrophically, but genuinely observably thin in a way that has practical consequences for how the institution functions day to day. Question 2. How did it get this thin? The thinning of the working royal roster did not happen in one moment. It happened across a series of decisions and events that individually seemed manageable but together have created a situation without recent precedent. Andrew's removal was the largest single departure in terms of public engagement volume. He was, whatever his personal failings, a prolific working royal who carried a significant number of patronages and public appearances. Those responsibilities did not disappear when he left. They redistributed onto a roster that was not designed to absorb them easily. Harry's departure was different in character. He stepped back from working royal life as a choice. The volume he carried was smaller than Andrew's, but the symbolic weight of the departure, the narrative it created, the attention it generated, has had its own ongoing cost to the institution in terms of management and communication. Catherine's health has not reduced her commitment. She returned to public duties with evident purpose and has been clear about her intention to continue. But the nature of recovery from serious illness means that the pace cannot simply resume as if the previous year did not happen. That is not a criticism. It is a medical reality. And Charles himself, maintaining his schedule through cancer treatment with remarkable discipline, is doing so at a cost that the people around him are clearly monitoring carefully. The result is an institution carrying its full range of responsibilities on a smaller, more strained group of people than it has relied on at any comparable point in modern history. The patronage question, why it matters. Before getting to question 3, it is worth pausing on a specific dimension of this thin roster problem that does not always get proper attention. Royal patronages. When a working royal becomes the official patron of a charity, a medical foundation, a cultural institution, or a military regiment, they are deploying the full prestige of the crown on that organization's behalf. A royal patron is not an honorary badge. It is a guarantee of public trust that elevates the organization's credibility in ways that are genuinely valuable and difficult to replicate. Hundreds of charities and organizations across Britain hold royal patronages. Many of them depend on those patronages not just symbolically, but practically, for fundraising credibility, for public engagement, for the kind of institutional legitimacy that opens doors. When a patron steps back, as Harry did with his, as Andrew has with his, those patronages require redistribution. They go back into the pool, and the pool available to receive them is currently smaller than the pool generating them. This is not a crisis. The system manages redistribution. But it does mean that William, Anne, Edward, Sophie, and the others are each carrying more patronage commitments than they would under a fuller roster, and managing those commitments properly requires real time, real engagement, and real presence. Question 3. Who gets to officially represent the crown? This brings us to the most significant question of the 3, and to a genuine debate that is happening, not in the fabricated form that some corners of royal media have dramatized it, but in real institutional terms. As the working roster has thinned, the question of whether extended family members, the children and relatives of working royals who are not themselves in the line of succession, can or should take on any formal role has become more pressing. The current answer, clearly and consistently applied, is no. The reasons reasons are constitutional rather than personal. A royal patronage represents the crown. The crown's legitimacy rests, in significant part, on the clarity of who is authorized to represent it. That clarity depends on the distinction between formal members of the royal house, those in the line of succession, those who have taken lifelong constitutional commitments to public service, and the extended family members who are private citizens. Blur that line, and you do not simply add capacity to a stretched institution. You create a question that is very difficult to answer. Who exactly is representing the crown, and why, and on what basis? Tom Parker Bowles is a real, accomplished person. He is Camilla's son. He has a career, a public profile, and genuine connections to causes he supports personally. None of that is in question, but he is not a constitutional member of the working royal family. He holds no position within the House of Windsor that would give his representation of the crown the same basis as William's or Anne's or Edward's. The line exists not to diminish him, but to protect the meaning of what it represents. Peter Phillips, the actual answer. Here is where the real, documented picture becomes interesting. Peter Phillips, Princess Anne's son, the late Queen's oldest grandchild, has over the past several years been more visible in a supporting capacity around royal events and within the family's orbit. Peter is not a working royal. He holds no royal title. Anne made that choice for her children deliberately, wanting them to have a more normal life. He has built a career in business and sports management, working across Formula One, corporate consultancy, and event management. But as a bloodline member of the direct royal family, the grandson of the late Queen, the son of the Princess Royal, his participation in family and semi-official contexts carries a different weight than that of an extended family member by marriage. This distinction is not arbitrary. It reflects the fundamental principle that working royal status flows from the direct line of the house, not from marital connection. The working roster may be thin. The answer to that thinness is not to expand the definition of who can officially represent the crown. It is to make the best possible use of the people who legitimately can, and to be honest about the genuine constraints that exist. What this tells us about the monarchy right now: step back and look at the full picture. An institution with a smaller working roster than at any recent point. A clear, maintained principle about who can officially represent the crown. A genuine question about sustainable pace that is being managed carefully from within. The monarchy has navigated thin periods before. It has adapted. It has found ways to maintain its essential functions while managing the human realities of health, departure, and change. What the current moment requires is not a loosening of the principles that give royal representation its meaning. It requires the intelligent deployment of the people who are already there, including the extended family members who can support in unofficial capacities, while being clear about the distinction between support and official representation. William understands this. Anne understands this. Charles, who has spent his entire life studying the institution he now leads, understands this. The boundaries will hold, not because of stubbornness, because the boundaries are the product. The monarchy's working roster is thinner than it has been in decades. That is a fact, not an alarm. What matters is not the size of the roster. It is the clarity of who is on it, what they represent, and why that distinction has meaning. As long as that clarity holds, the institution has the foundation it needs to navigate whatever comes next. Drop your thoughts below. Do you think the monarchy needs to expand its working model, or do you think the current boundaries are right? Like this video if it gave you the fuller picture. Subscribe to stay with the story. Take care. See you very soon.